So you probably noticed on the first video this layout where we've got sort of a web page on the left and then code on the right. And these things are paired, right? What we're seeing on the left is the output of the code on the right. And we're going to use this view as we go through this course to show what happens when you change one thing or another. Now you'll notice that right now this looks very plain, right? It's all the same font, the same color. It's very stock in terms of how it is displayed. And that is what HTML looks like when it is basically what you might call raw. And it's just the HTML. There's no styling applied to it. So HTML works in a way that you are probably somewhat familiar with a series of tags. Now, tags define areas or blocks of content on a web page, or let you include external content on a web page. Now, every tag starts with the less than sign on the left and a greater than sign on the right. And then the name of the tag fits in between those. So here's a good example. HTML tag right up here, less than sign on the left, greater than sign on the right. Now, most tags also need to have a closing tag. And what that means is if this tag starts this area on the page, the closing tag tells the browser this is where that area ends. And that is made by identical code, except for there's a little slash in between the opening less than sign and the name of the tag. So you can see that right here with the head. This is the opening tag. This is the closing tag. So this is where the head starts and this is where the head ends. And you can see that over and over again. And here we've got the start of HTML, the end of HTML, the start of the body, the end of the body, the start of an unordered list, the start of an individual list item, the end of a list item, and the end of an unordered list. So you can see that they can be nested. Tags can go inside of each other. Inside of the HTML, you have the body. Inside of the body, you have a list. Inside of a list, you have an element. Inside of the element, you might have an image or a link and so forth. So a few things to know about these tags. Not all tags do have to be closed. And that's just one thing to keep an eye out for. For the most part, you will have to, but some things like an image tag or an input box or a line break do not have to be closed. They just look like they store all the information in the tag itself. And that's information like in an image, what is the URL of the image? Or what is the styling for that image? Another thing to know is that not all HTML code is visible. So the body represents the visible stuff on the website. And the head represents some stuff that's invisible to the person who is viewing the website, but is useful to the browser. This is going to maybe show what goes in the title at the top of the browser window. This is stuff that's going to maybe pull in external styling information or pull in external files. This is where Google might tell you to put your analytics code. So it loads first. The head is going to load first. And so as you work through your HTML tags, there are a few ways that you might break it. The most common way is that you're going to forget to put the closing greater than sign on a tag. And if we remove that, refresh our output, we see that H2 is now gone because, again, a tag is wrapped by a less than sign on the left and a greater than sign on the right. And if the browser thinks that all of this in between is a tag, well, it doesn't mean anything. And that content now looks like part of the name of the tag. So we can fix that by simply putting that tag back. It could happen if we remove the first one, but it'll be easier to spot. If we remove the first less than sign or the less than sign at the beginning, because it doesn't think that a tag is starting, nothing happens. We refresh the output, it goes to plain styling, and the rest of the tag, well, the browser doesn't think it's a tag because it didn't start with a less than sign. So we can fix that by putting the greater than sign or the less than sign at the beginning. And again, that's easier to find because it looks funny. You're not expecting to see that in your code. The last thing that is very, very common is just forgetting to close the tag in the first place. Now think about this one. We've started an area called H2, which is a header. We've told the browser, okay, this is the start of the H2 area. If we don't close that tag, the browser is going to think that everything that follows it is part of the H2 area, and it's going to apply that same styling all the way down. So those are three common mistakes that often are made with tags. Either the first or the less than sign or the greater than sign is missing, or the closing tag is missing. Now that we understand how tags work, we're going to move on to attributes next, and that'll be the next video.